Welcome to the beautiful Upper West Side of Manhattan. It's about 11 p.m. Ethereum and Bitcoin are both ripping, and I can't sleep, so I thought it would be a good idea to film this wonderful walking tour starting on Manhattan's Upper West Side by Lincoln Center, down Broadway, and ending in Times Square. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Oftentimes we film these walks during the day, and I think people can get a really different perspective of New York City if you experience it at night. Oftentimes I think some parts of New York City look entirely different. So I'm going to start a new series on the channel where we'll walk the Upper West Side, we'll walk the Upper East Side, Billionaires Row, at night. So if you're thinking about visiting here, or maybe you're thinking about moving here, you could experience the neighborhood during the day and late at night to see what it's actually like. Here we're walking southbound. You have the Smith restaurant here. This is a great spot. You'll also notice how quiet and tranquil the streets are. This is West 63rd Street, or Sesame Street. We're looking at this gorgeous full moon overlooking Central Park West. And then of course you have Lincoln Center and the beautiful Empire Hotel. Even have some of the fruit vendors and food vendors out late at night. Since we're going to be walking down Broadway on this trip, you're really going to get to see the skyline of Manhattan come to life. You'll also be able to see the transition from some of the pre-war buildings to some of the newer glass encased skyscrapers. We're now coming up to the corner of West 62nd Street and Broadway, where we will talk about one of my favorite buildings in all of New York City, 15 Central Park West. We've talked about this building numerous times before, but this is the famous limestone Jesus building that was put on by Zeckendorf developers. They tapped the one and only Robert A.M. Stern to do the architectural work on the property. Now, my favorite fact about this building is that they used the same exact limestone from that Indiana rock quarry that was used to construct the Empire State Building. Not a lot of people know that, but it's true. It kind of tells the full story, the full picture of New York City, to have that high attention to detail on a building. This building was constructed during the depths of the financial crisis. Not a lot of people thought this building was going to sell well, but it actually sold more than 70% of the building before it was even completed construction in a financial crisis, which just goes to show that the ultra-wealthy, ultra-high net worth individuals very seldom go through a recession. This building right here is 1 Central Park West. This is the Trump International Hotel and Tower. There's 3 main components to this building. You have, obviously, the International Hotel, but you also have the residences and a Michelin star steakhouse, Jean-Georges. At night, they close the gates of 15 Central Park West, but since we have a small camera, we'll be able to see the beauty of the main valet. Such a wonderful building. Here we are, you can see the main gates at the stunning 15 Central Park West. The famous Robert A.M. Stern. Now, former CEO of Goldman Sachs, Lloyd Blankfein, has a really nice unit in this building with a great balcony overlooking Central Park. But as we point the camera southbound, you'll see the massive super tall of the Steinway building and the spire of 432 Park Avenue as well. Such a beautiful, beautiful building. You can see all that limestone throughout. And now this brings us right to Central Park West, where we have a stunning full moon tonight. As we look southbound, you can see the other Robert A.M. Stern building, which is 220 Central Park South. It's this building with that gold top. Really beautiful architecture. So Robert A.M. Stern is on 3 of the most notable residential buildings in New York: 15 Central Park West, 220 Central Park South, and 520 Park Avenue. Show you the main entrance on the Central Park West side. And then here you have one of my favorite cityscape views, Steinway Tower 157. You can see Michael Dell's apartment all the way up there. 220 Central Park South, and then Central Park Tower that stands at 1,550 feet tall. We'll go right in front of the Trump International Hotel and Tower, and then we'll get back on Broadway and continue southbound. Quite peaceful walking New York City at night when nobody else is out. Okay, here we have door number 1. This is the private residences at 1 Central Park West. door number 2, you have the International Hotel, which I've stayed at many times. It is a beautiful property. And then lastly, you have the Michelin star restaurant, Jean Georges. So the hotel, you could have room service from the Steakhouse. You could use the beautiful swimming pool in the basement. It's really a great property. And you may see a big police presence here. Many people think that it's just because it's outside of Trump Tower. But there's an NYPD police precinct inside the subway station right here at Columbus Circle. Central Park South stretches from 59th Street, or I should say Central Park stretches from 59th Street. Central Park South all the way up to 110th Street Cathedral Parkway. Another really nice hotel right near Columbus Circle is the Mandarin Oriental, which sits inside the Deutsche Bank Center. This is a wonderful shot of Columbus Circle here. Right here you can get the one train downtown or uptown. And then looking northbound, you can see where we started, which is right by the Hotel Empire. As you may already know, this building right here was developed by the Related Group. Used to be the AOL Time Warner Center. Now the bulge bracket investment bank Deutsche Bank has taken over. Here you have the shops at Columbus Circle. You have a Whole Foods in here. You even have a Shake Shack. I'll give you a little tip, okay? If you want an unbelievable place to eat at like a fraction of the cost at all the other places, go to the second floor here and eat at this tartinerie. You could sit down, grab a coffee or a pastry, and you have these gorgeous views overlooking Central Park, all of Columbus Circle, and you could even see to the Upper East Side. It's really quite nice. And it's at a fraction of the cost at some of the other restaurants. Then, of course, you could see Vornado's 220 Central Park South and Extel's Central Park Tower. Now, Deutsche Bank was the last standing bulge bracket investment bank on the physical street of Wall Street. They used to be at 60 Wall Street, and now they've migrated up here. When people think Wall Street, they think of Lower Manhattan, but I think about Park Avenue and Midtown Manhattan. All of the major investment banks, hedge funds, private equity firms are really up in Midtown Manhattan and all along Park Avenue. JP Morgan Chase just constructed their 270 Park building, and Citadel, that's owned by Ken Griffin, is slated to construct 350 Park Avenue, which is going to be another Class A office tower. Citadel is also making plans to construct an office tower just off of Brickell Avenue in Miami, Florida. Citadel has relocated their headquarters from Chicago, Illinois, down to Miami, Florida. We're now crossing 8th Avenue. I want to take you all by Sullivan Theater, where the Stephen Colbert Show is filmed. That was recently canceled. Apparently the show is losing about $25 million a year, which is unfortunate. We're now making a right on Broadway. You know, when you think about the changing landscape of media, there was actually a really good article in the Wall Street Journal the other day about it. Predominantly, a lot of the audience is going to streaming platforms, and even streaming platforms such as YouTube TV. Even a simple YouTube video, the majority of the audience now watches YouTube on a television. And if you think about the cost of creating that content over time, the cost of creating content has plummeted. Right? You could have, a very successful show that has maybe 1 or 2 employees, if any. It could be a one-man shop. They could be pulling in multi-millions of dollars worth of revenue with no employees, extremely high margin business, and get 10 times the viewership of these late night talk show hosts. However, if you're talking about late night, the talk show hosts command these $25 million ridiculous salaries. They have a staff of 150 people and reach only a fraction of the viewership in many instances. So it's a very archaic business, and technology has really disrupted the space. Anybody in the world could grab a camera, record a podcast, and potentially, if you're successful enough, reach an audience bigger than late night with zero startup capital and essentially run at 99% plus profit margins, essentially 100% profit margin. So for the late night shows, yeah, I understand it's upsetting that many of them are getting canceled, but it's just not a profitable business structure anymore. The internet and live streaming has really killed that business. I mean, just look at how successful Netflix is now. That is the model that works, subscription-based revenue. This is now 57th Street, New York City's Billionaires Row. And you're looking over all the way to the east side, and you can see 432 Park Avenue with the full moon just off to the right. That is such a cool shot. Oftentimes people will say that a lot of these tech stocks, or even stocks like Netflix, are overvalued. They're trading at a crazy price to earnings or a crazy price to sales. But what they don't realize is that Wall Street is willing to pay a premium for the predictability of cash flows, right? And that was all pioneered by SaaS, software as a service, subscription revenue. If you just have to sell a product or a service one time, and then you have to go back and sell it again to the customer, that's not predictable. But if you can grow reoccurring revenue, ARR, annual reoccurring revenue, it's a simple formula. It's how many customers are you acquiring versus how many customers are you churning. What is your churn rate? So how many customers is Netflix adding every quarter versus how many are canceling their subscriptions? And what is the cost of acquisition? How much does it cost to acquire a customer? Okay, we're continuing our way down Broadway. This is now the corner of West 55th Street. We'll come up to the former site of Bad Boy Entertainment. P. Diddy, or Sean Combs, his record label used to be right here on the left. When I was a kid, I actually saw him a few times with his sons right here on Broadway. You used to be able to see the sign Bad Boy Worldwide, but the building is now totally demolished. This is the Dream Hotel. Across the street this way just to avoid the construction, and so you can see the site a little bit better. You'll also be able to see the main Ed Sullivan Theater. These used to be the dollar slice places, but now they're $1.50 due to inflation. Okay, so in between West 54th Street and West 55th Street, this big vacant lot here, this used to be the building that housed Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Worldwide. It's good to see the building come down because that thing was a horror show. It was all condemned, it was abandoned, it turned into a little bit of a homeless encampment, there was rats all over the place, so it's really, really good that they've finally torn it down, and hopefully something really nice will be in its place. But here we are, West 54th Street and Broadway. This is the Ed Sullivan Theater, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. That was just canceled. Of course, you have the very famous Angelo's Pizza.
If there's anything in there fictitious, fuck that. Slap this man. Get it, do it now, do it. I ain't got phone. This one right here.
Here's the other side of the Stephen Colbert. It looks like it's turned into a little bit of a homeless encampment, actually. It is quite nice looking at it. The Ed Sullivan Theater has so much history to it. We're now headed southbound, crossing West 53rd Street. This is the Great Gatsby the musical. I would highly, highly recommend checking out MJ the musical. That was such a fantastic performance. I just saw it 2 days ago, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend it if you can do it.
The next day.
We're headed southbound into Times Square. But first, I want to pull off to the side and show you one of my favorite steakhouses in all of New York City. It sits right here on West 52nd Street, and it is Gallagher's. This is just a New York staple, and it's right next to the Neil Simon Theater, where they have MJ the musical. If you're planning a trip to New York City, I would highly recommend having at least one meal at Gallagher's Steakhouse. This is such a fun time. The decor, the ambiance of the restaurant is really, really great. And you have this kick-ass American flag on top. Three of my favorite things: steak, America, and New York City. They actually have all of their steaks on display here. These are the dry-aged steaks. Pretty cool, right? We'll get back on Broadway.
No, he can't. No.
As we head southbound, we're going to walk right in front of Din Tai Fung. I believe this is the first Din Tai Fung in New York City. And when it just opened, the line was so crazy that you could not get a reservation. It was booked out for weeks. And then I took a trip to Korea, and there was Din Tai Fungs all over the place, and there was really no hype about it. But I get it. It's, you know, the first one in New York City. Everybody wants to try it. The one in Seoul is pretty good. But I still think you can get better Chinese food and better dim sum in Chinatown at some of the local spots. But here it is, the Din Tai Fung. And across the street is the very famous Stardust Diner. You have Morgan Stanley to the right, and then you also have Barclays Investment Bank. Now, Barclays Investment Bank, right there north of Times Square, used to be the old Lehman Brothers. So if you've ever watched any of the documentaries or any of the footage of the '08 financial crisis, and you saw a lot of the bankers walking out of Lehman Brothers with the cardboard boxes, all of that was right here. Here's the 50th Street subway station. You can get the one train downtown to South Ferry. South Ferry, you can get the ferry to Staten Island. This is now West 50th Street. You have the Applebee's across the street. You can see all the way over to Radio City Music Hall, which is on Avenue of the Americas. And then you have Junior's. Now, the original Junior's cheesecake, I believe, is in Brooklyn, New York, near Atlantic Terminal, Brooklyn, and the Barclays Center. And now we're headed into the main area of Times Square. You're also going to see the Haiti, which is their mixology lounge, which is pretty cool. So if you're visiting Times Square, check that out. I think that's one of the cooler things to do, is look at the Haiti flagship right in Times Square. Again, here's the Juniors on your left. This big building that's blown out, this vacant one, used to be a Sbarro's. I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did, to be honest. You have the Krispy Kreme flagship to your right. Here you can see the Krispy Kreme flagship right here. This is on the corner of West 48th Street and Broadway. You have the M&M store to your left. You can see the big 2025 numerals. I actually haven't seen this yet. It's kind of like outdoor art center. It's pretty interesting. Okay, this is West 47th Street and Broadway. You're going to see the main red steps in a minute. I would say one of the newest exciting developments on 8th Avenue is the Torch Building that was also being developed by Extel. Looks like they've closed down a little bit of the Times Square area here. Perhaps for some sort of cleaning or something. Oh, this is the Haiti. This is that location I was talking about. This is their mixology center. I would recommend coming here. It's a very cool location. You do see a bigger police presence here than normal. I believe there was a big shooting here the other day. You see this building over here, it says Express. I used to work in that clothing store as a teenager. But here you're looking back at the red steps, really the main area at Times Square. Okay, we're going to continue to head southbound, crossing 45th Street. Now this year they're no longer going to use the same ball that they used to ring in the new year. It's going to be something different. This is the Raising Cane's. The story of Raising Cane's is actually quite impressive. I believe the founder is now worth about $6 billion. It is filthy enough.
Recording us, big boy. We is wanted for murder. Recording. That was the guy.
This is now the Hard Rock Cafe. And looking over here is the NASDAQ. This is the main NYPD precinct. Now we're right in front of the U.S. Armed Forces recruiting station. If you enjoyed this walking tour from the Upper West Side of Manhattan down Broadway at night, subscribe to the channel for more and leave a like on the video. And as always, we will see you all in the next one. Take care.